अभी हम लोग का लास्ट चैप्टर है। हम लोग शुरू से लेकर फ्लेमिंगो से शुरू किए थे। फ्लेमिंगो के टोटल 8 चैप्टर्स खत्म कर दिए। उसके बाद अपन लोग विस्टास उठाए, विस्टास भी 7 चैप्टर्स खत्म कर दिए। अब आप सोचो कि 8 7 15 चैप्टर्स हो चुके, ये 16वां चैप्टर है और मेरा ये 98th वीडियो 99th वीडियो है ना। अच्छा यूट्यूब पे, अच्छा कोई नहीं, लेकिन मैटर ये करता है भैया कि अपन लोग ने अभी जो जर्नी तय की हुई है वो देखो कितने देर में, आखिर 4 से 5 घंटे में ये जर्नी टोटल दोनों बुक की कंप्लीट हो गई। आप अगर 2x में देखोगे तो 2.5 घंटे में, मतलब कैन यू इमेजिन टू कंप्लीट 2 बुक्स इन जस्ट 2.5 घंटे, मतलब एट बिल्कुल फास्टेस्ट फास्टेस्ट, अकेले तो नॉट पॉसिबल। सो वेन एवर यू वॉन्टेड टू do this, you can check it out in the playlist. Just play in the 2x mode and one by one वो तो खुद ही नेक्स्ट वीडियो पकड़ लेगा। फिर आप कैपेबल होगे उतना जल्दी जल्दी, मतलब एक बार रीडिंग डाल लेने में। एक बार आप अगर स्टोरी समझ चुके हो उसके बाद रीडिंग डालना, तो जैसे आपको ईच एंड एवरी थिंग से एक बार मतलब क्या कहते हैं उसको, गेट थ्रू होना। चलो ठीक है, लास्ट वीडियो है इसलिए इंग्लिश का तो थोड़ा मन कर रहा है बात करने को आपसे। देखो यार, अभी भी बहुत कुछ हो सकता है। क्या है कि अभी आज 6 तारीख है, ठीक है, और इसके जस्ट 2 सप्ताह बाद, आज गुरुवार है, अगले गुरुवार के गुरुवार को, ठीक है, अगले के अगले गुरुवार को 20 तारीख पड़ रहा है, उस दिन पेंटिंग का एग्जाम होगा बहुत लोगों का, फाइन आर्ट्स का। जिनका नहीं होगा उनका बस सोमवार को ही, ठीक, 24 तारीख को उनका होने वाला है फिजिकल एजुकेशन। उसके पहले तो खैर वोकेशनल कोर्सेज हैं, उनकी नंबर तो बहुत कमी होती है। आई डोंट एक्सपेक्ट फॉर एनी वन who is listening it and still belong to that category. If someone belong to that vocational courses category, please comment below. I want also to know about that, क्योंकि हम लोग जनरली उस टाइप के बच्चे से मीट नहीं करते हैं। ठीक है, ठीक है, तो अभी भी बहुत कुछ हो सकता है। मैं कह रहा हूँ अगर आपको हर तरफ से डिमोटिवेशन मिल रहा है तो मेरी तरफ से हमेशा मोटिवेशन रहेगा, क्योंकि मैं भी सेम उसी टाइप का बंदा हूँ, लेकिन मेरे अंदर इतना ज़्यादा कॉन्फिडेंस भरा हुआ है। लेकिन मैं नहीं चाहता इस बार ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस हो, लेकिन फिर भी कॉन्फिडेंस है और कॉन्फिडेंस तो रखना ही पड़ेगा। नहीं कॉन्फिडेंस रखूंगा तो फिर यार रोने किसी को और कुछ बचेगा नहीं। लेकिन फिर भी देखो यार, इतने जल्दी जल्दी अगर सब कुछ कंप्लीट हो रहे हैं, कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डअप हो रहा है, तो धीरे धीरे सब कुछ सही हो जाएगा। खैर, 8th चैप्टर मेमोरीज ऑफ चाइल्डहुड, Zitkal, Sa and Bama. Before you read, this unit presents autobiographical episodes from the lives of 2 women from marginalized communities who look back on their childhood and reflect on their relationship with the mainstream culture. The first account is by the American Indian woman born in the late 19th century. The second is by a contemporary Tamil Dalit writer, Gertrude Simons Bonin, born in 1876, was an extraordinarily talented and educated Native American woman who struggled and triumphed in a time when severe prejudice prevailed towards Native American culture and women. As a writer, she adopted the pen name Zitkal Sa, and in 1900 began publishing articles criticizing the Carlisle Indian school. He works criticized dogma and her life as a Native American woman dedicated against the evils of the oppression. Bama is the pen name of the Tamil Dalit woman from a Roman Catholic family. She has published 3 main works: an autobiography, Karuttu 1992, a novel, Sangati 1994, and collection of short stories, Karukku. Karukku means Palmyra leaves, which with their serrated edges on both sides are like double-edged swords. By a felicitous pun, the Tamil word karukku containing the word karu, embryo, or C also means freshness, newness. First number, the cutting of my long hair, Zitkala Sa means ये Zitkala Sa ने लिखा हुआ है. The first day in the land of apples was a bitter cold one, for the snow still covered the ground and the trees were bare. A large bell rang for breakfast, its loud metallic voice crushing through the belfry overhead and into our sensitive ears. The annoying clatters of shoes on bare floors gave us no peace. The constant clash of harsh noises with an undercurrent of many voices murmuring an unknown tongue made a bedlam within which I was securely tied. And though my spirit tore itself in struggling for its lost freedom, it was all was useless. A pale face women with white hair came up after us. We are placed in a line of girls who are marching into the dining room. They are Indian girls in stiff shoes and closely clinging dresses. The small girls wore sleeved aprons and shingled hair as a wailed noiselessly in my soft moccasins. I felt like sinking to the floor, for my blanket had been stripped from my shoulders. I looked hard at the India girls, who seemed not to care that they were even more immodestly dressed than I, and in their tightly fitted clothes. While we marched in, the boys entered to an opposite door. I spied them in the rear ranks, looking and uncomfortable as I felt. A small bell was tapped, and each of the pupils drew a chair from under the table, supposing their act meant that they were to be seated. I pulled out mine and at once slipped into it from one side, but when I turned my head, I saw that I was only one seated and all the rest of our table remained standing. Just as I began to rise, looking shyly shyly around to see how chairs were to be used, a second bell was sounded. All were seated at last, and I had to crawl back into my chair again. I heard a man's voice at one end of the hall, and I looked around to see him, but all the others hung their heads over their plates. As I glanced at the long chain of tables, I caught the eyes of the pale faced woman upon me. Immediately I dropped my eyes, wondering why I was keenly watched by the strange woman. The man ceased his mutterings, and then a third bell was tapped. Every one picked up his knife and fork and began eating. I began crying instead, for this for by this I was afraid of venture anything more. But this eating by formula was not the hardest trial in the first day. Late in that morning, my friend Judwin gave me a terrible warning. Judwin knew a few words of English, and she had overheard the painful women talk about cutting our long, heavy hair. Our mothers had taught us that only unskilled warriors who are captured and their hair singled by the enemy. Among our people, short hair was worn by mourners and singled haired by cowards. We discussed our fate some moments, and when Judwin said we have to submit because they are strong, I rebelled. No, I will not submit. I will struggle first, I answered. I watched my chance, and when no one noticed, I disappeared. I crept up the stairs as quietly as I could in the squeaking shoes. My moccasins had been exchanged for shoes. Along the hall I passed without knowing whether I was going. Turning aside to an open door, I found a large room they, with three white beds in it. The windows were covered with dark green curtains which made the room very dim. Thankful that no one was there, I directed my steps towards the corner farthest from the door. On my hands and knees, I crawled under the bed and huddled myself dark corner. From my hiding place I peered out, shuddering with fear Whenever I heard footsteps nearby, though in the hall loud voices were calling my name, and I knew that Avi Judwin was searching for me. I did not open my mouth to answer. Then the steps were quicker and the voice became excited. The sounds came nearer and nearer. Women and girls entered the room. I held my breath and watched them open closed doors and peep behind large trunks. Someone threw up curtains, and the room was filled with sudden light. What caused them to stoop and look under the bed, I do not know. I remember being dragged out, though I resisted by kicking and scratching wildly. In spite of myself, I was carried downstairs and tied fast in the chair. I cried aloud, shaking my head all the while until I felt the cold blades of the scissors against my neck and heard them gnaw on of my thick braids. Then I lost my spirit. Since the day I was taken from my mother, I had suffered extreme indignities. People, ये कैसा indignities है? IND, indignities, ठीक है. Extreme, I had suffered extreme indignities. People had stared at me. I had been tossed about in the air like a wooden puppet, and now my long hair had shingled like a coward's. In my anguish, I mourned for my mother, but no one came to comfort me. Not a soul reasoned quietly with me as my own mother used to do. For now, I was only one of the many little animals driven by herder. Now, second, we too are human beings, Bama. When I was studying in third class, I hadn't yet heard people speak openly of untouchability, but I had already seen, felt, experienced, and been humiliated by what it is. I was walking home from school one day. An old bag hanging from my shoulder. Was actually possible to walk the distance in 10 minutes, but usually it would take me 30 minutes at very least to reach home. It would take me from half an hour to an hour to dawdle along, watching all the fun and games that were going on, all the entertaining novelties and oddities in the streets and shops and the bazaar, the performing monkey and the snake that the snake charmer kept in its box and displayed from time to time, the cyclist who had not got off his bike for 3 days and who kept pedaling as hard as he could break off the day, the rupee notes that were pinned on his shirt to spur him on, the spinning wheels, the Marietta temple, the huge bell hanging there, the pongal offerings being cooked in front of the table, the dried fish stall by the statue of Gandhi, the sweet stall, the stall selling fried snakes, and all the other shops next to each other, the street light always demonstrating how it could change from blue to violet, the Nari, the Nariku Ravan, Hunter Gipsy with Hunter Gipsy, Narikuravan. Hunter Gipsy was his wild lemur in cages, selling needles, clay baits, and instruments for cleaning out the ears. Oh, I could not and on. I could on and on. Oh, I could on and on. Each thing would pull me to stand still and not allow me to go any further. At times people from very Various political parties would arrive, put up a stage, and harangue us through their mics. And then there might be a street play or a puppet show or a no magic, no miracle stunt performance. All these would happen from time to time, but almost certainly there would be some entertainment of other going on. Even otherwise, there were the coffee clubs in bazaar. The way each waiter cooled the coffee, lifting a tumbler high up and pouring its contents into a tumbler held in the other hand. On the same people sat in front of the shops chopping up onion, their eyes turned elsewhere so they would not smart or almond tree growing there, and its fruit which was occasionally blown down by the wind, and all sides taken together would tether my legs and stop me from going home. And then, according to the season, there would be mango, cucumber, sugar cane, sweet potato, palm shoots, gram, palm syrup, and palm fruit, guavas, and jackfruit. Every day I would see new people selling sweet and savory. Every day I would see people selling sweet and savory fried snacks, payasam halwa, boiled tamarind seeds, and iced lollies. Gazing at all this, one day I came to my street, my bag slung over my shoulder at the opposite corner, though a threshing floor had been set up and the landlord watched the proceedings seated on a piece of sacking spread over a stone ledge. Our people were hard at work, driving cattle in pairs round and round to trade to tread out the grains from the straw. The animals were muzzled so that they won't help themselves to the straw. I stood for a while there watching for the fun. Just then an elder of our street came along from the direction of the bazaar. The man in which he was walking along made me want to double up. I wanted to shriek with laughter at the sight of such a big man carrying a small packet in that fashion. I guessed there was something like vadai or green banana buzzy in packet because the wrapping paper was stained with oil. He came along holding out the packet by its string without touching it. I stood there thinking of myself, it he holds it, like won't the package under come undone and the vadais fall down. The elder went straight up to the landlord, bowed low, and extended the packet towards him, cupping the hand that held the steering with his other hand. The landlord opened the parcel and began to eat the vadais. After I had watched all this, at last I went home. My elder brother was there. I told him the story in all the comic detail. I fell about with the laughter at the memory of a big man and an older at that, marking such a game of carrying the parcel. But Annam was not amused. Annam told me the man wasn't being funny when he carried the package like that. He said everybody believed that he was upper caste and therefore must not touch us. If they did, they would be polluted. That's why he had to carry the package by its string. When I heard this, I didn't want to laugh anymore and I felt terribly sad. How could they believe that? It was disgusting. If one of us held that package in his hands, even though the vadai had been wrapped first in the banana leaf and then the parcel in the paper, I felt so provoked and angry that I wanted to touch those raised vadais myself straight away. Why should we have to fetch and carry for these people? I wondered. Such an important elder of ours goes meekly to the shops to fetch snacks and hands them over reverently, bowing and shrinking to this fellow who just sits there and stuffs them into his mouth. The thought of it infuriated me. How was it that these fellows thought so much of themselves because they had scraped 4 coins together? Did that mean they must lose all human feelings? But we too are human beings. Our people should never run these petty errands for these fellows. We should work in their fields, take home our wages, and leave it at that. My elder brother was studying at a university, had come home for the holidays. He would often go to the library in our neighboring village in order to borrow books. He was on his way home one day, walking along the banks of irrigation tank. One of the landlord's men came up behind him. He thought my Anam looked unfamiliar, and he asked, "Who are you, Appa? What's your name?" Anna told him his name. Immediately, the other man asked, "Thambi, on which street do you live?" The point of this was that if he knew on which street we lived, he would know our caste too. Anna told me all these things, and he added, because we are born into the community, we are never given any humor or dignity or respect. We are stripped of all that. But if we study and make progress, we can throw away these indignities. So study with care, learn all you can. If you are always ahead in your lessons, people will come to you of their own accord and attach themselves to you. Work hard and learn. These words that Anam spoke to me that day made me very deep impression on me, and I studied hard with all my breath and with all my breath and being in a frenzy almost. Such में यार. As Anam had urged, I stood first in class, and because of that, many people became my friends. गजब. बताइए, स्टडी मोटिवेशन आप खोजते हैं, स्टडी मोटिवेशन कितना बढ़िया है. दैट्स राइट. इफ यू जस्ट गो इन द फर्स्ट रो, many body will come to follow you. मतलब it doesn't mean that you have to show you that you are the first, you are on the first class, means you are on the ahead of everyone. लेकिन यही है कि आप वहां पे जाकर के काफी कुछ चेंज कर सकते हो. So go there and change the meaning of firstness, leadership, or just highness. Change the meaning if you don't want that to become also. ठीक है, तो अब ये कंप्लीट हुआ. इसके साथ ही हम लोग का इंग्लिश का टोटल रीडिंग भी कंप्लीट हो गया. टोटल यार 16 चैप्टर्स कंप्लीट हो गए. पोएट्री पे मैंने एक वीडियो बना दी, हाउ टू रीड पोएट्री, क्योंकि बाकी सब पोएट्री को रीडिंग डालने से कोई फ़ायदा नहीं था जब तक रीडिंग उसको समझा नहीं जाए. बाकी तो ये सब रीडिंग डालने का कुछ मतलब ही बनता है. खैर, अब देखते हैं एग्ज़ाम के बीच में. एग्ज़ाम तक तो मैं अच्छा से पढ़ ही लूँगा, तब अपन लोग एक वीडियो बना देंगे सबका हिंदी में एक्सप्लेनेशन के साथ में, सबके थीम एक्सप्लेनेशन के साथ में, सब स्टोरी को समझने के साथ में और टफ वर्ड्स के साथ में. ठीक है, तब तक इससे काम चलाओ. कुछ कहना है तो नीचे कमेंट करो. ये हम लोग का लास्ट वीडियो है, शायद ये मेरी 99th वीडियो है यूट्यूब पे. इसके बाद 100 वीडियो में मैं थोड़ा नोट डाउन करूँगा बहुत अच्छे से, क्योंकि यार ऐसे दिमाग में बहुत कुछ चलता रहता है. जब बनाने का टाइम आता है तो पता नहीं क्या बकवास करते रह जाता हूँ. उतने देर तक मैं बहुत कम काम की पॉइंट्स बोलता हूँ. ठीक है, अभी मैं पॉइंट्स बनाऊँगा और सिर्फ काम की बात बोलूँगा अपने 100th वीडियो में. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर बीइंग विथ मी. थैंक यू.